You guys been paying attention to the news? And in the past few weeks, I've been watching this Trayvon Martin case, and I have recorded several pieces on this, but have not had a chance to sort them out and upload them. But I hope to get to do that in the near future. Well, this case woke parents up. It is a parent's worst nightmare. You know, in every neighborhood there's a corner store. I've talked about them in my Milk 2 video. It's one of a child's first tastes of independence, to be able to walk to the store alone and get a drink or some candy. It's such an innocent thing to do. It is a nightmare to think that your child could go on one of these trips and be shot to death on his way back and never make it home. And this George Zimmerman, the killer of Trayvon Martin, has a really bad attitude. Now, initially when I heard about this case, I thought that George had mental health issues, paranoia, possibly schizophrenia. But even if we put that aside and say that George just is a nasty piece of work, I think there's evidence to support it. Now, what do I mean by a bad attitude? Let me give you an example. A guy's driving down the street. He's cut off by another driver. He speeds up, chases the driver down, and blocks this driver in for several kilometers. Now, a normal-minded person would have been slightly annoyed at being cut off, maybe a little frightened, but they would have quickly seen that they were okay, they were alive, that no terrible accident happened, and they would have breathed a sigh of relief. They would have been grateful that it turned out okay. They would have been happy to walk away from that situation unscathed and make it home. The normal-minded person knows that he is not going to teach this other driver any lesson by chasing him down and blocking him in. As a matter of fact, the normal-minded person knows that such an action could make matters worse. They know that that action could actually cause an accident, the very accident they were happy to avoid in the first place. You see, this is what being an adult is. It's about exercising restraint. It's about looking on the bright side of things and being able to let the little things go. And we don't let things go because we are noble and good. We do it for self-preservation. We do it because we know that if we chase that driver down and cause an accident and somebody dies, we'll be in a whole lot more trouble than we were initially. We don't assault police officers not because we think police officers are terrific people and because we think the law is virtuous and good. We do it because police officers can make our lives a living hell. So we bite our tongues, we de-escalate the situation, and thank our lucky stars that we walked away safe and intact. But guys with a bad attitude, they carry around this grave sense of injustice with them, a feeling that some terrible wrong has been done to them that they need to set right. What did George say just before he shot Trayvon to death? He said, "These assholes always get away." That was George's sense of injustice talking. And that sense of injustice blinded him to what was reality. See, if George Zimmerman had been seeing clearly, he would have seen that Trayvon Martin was committing no crime and was just walking down the street. So either he couldn't see it, or he simply would not see it because he was blinded or because he wanted to hurt this young boy. So George Zimmerman made decisions and took actions that carried him from a rather benign circumstance of there being alleged burglaries in his neighborhood to the terrible circumstance of being charged with murder in the second degree. Nice going, George. But you see, people with bad attitudes, this is what they do. It was his choice to arm himself when he could have left the gun at home. It was his choice to follow Trayvon Martin when he could have stood down and let the police deal with it. He brought this on himself. Sometimes people use a sense of injustice as an excuse to hunt people down and express rage. Talk about going from bad to worse. Sometimes they just cannot come to terms with their violent impulses. Now, I have never believed that George Zimmerman was a law abider, that he wanted to be a cop and he respects the law. I never believed that. I think he disdains the law. I think he disdains police officers. I think he's a rebel. He enjoys challenging authority. He's out of control. But of course, his family, I think they're a whole family of liars, will try to paint him as an upholder of the law, someone who supports his friends and protects people's property. But that's not what he is at all. I think George was hunting Trayvon and either incapable of or unwilling to come to terms with his violent urges. Thanks for listening.